media.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. If you joined me on the channel yesterday, I talked about this explosive interview that emerged from the Countersignal's Cian Bexte and Canada that traveled to Tofino to essentially corner Justin Trudeau into talking to what he labels as a right-wing media outlet. Now, what we have to talk about today is just mind-blowing. First off, when Cian Bexte first announced he was going to upload this explosive interview, he had mentioned that it was going to be exclusive for a short period of time to members of the Countersignal. Now, of course, they have to recoup their costs. I've heard rumors circulating that that the costs of doing this interview ranged somewhere close to the $3,000 mark. So once again, I don't see anything wrong with an outlet recuperating their costs, especially when they're independent media, to fly all the way to Tofino to get the answers that Canadians want from their cowardly prime minister. Now, that being said, I guess folks like the pleb had reached out to Cian Bexte, and over time, I guess Cian thought it would be worth to just put online to try and recoup their costs through the views or whatnot. But I would still encourage everybody, as we go through this interview today, head over to the Countersignal. Give them your membership. If you subscribe to any independent media outlets, go over, show them some support, because let me tell you something. I've always thought that Cian does a good job with his journalism. I like that he's not afraid to ask questions, even when he's not wanted in a specific area. And once again, showing with this interview in particular, we're going to go through it bit by bit. But I just find it so refreshing to see somebody push this hard to get the answers, and I feel that they deserve that support. Now, in terms of the costs, in terms of how this interview went down, you'll notice in yesterday's video, I had some questions. How does somebody get this close to the Prime Minister, especially after what we saw with David Menzies getting arrested for just talking to Crystia Freeland? It blew my mind. Now, apparently there is a story behind that. Join me here tomorrow on the channel, because I will be sitting down with Kat Canada, the social media pundit who sat and filmed for Cian Bexte. I know she does work alongside the Countersignal, but she actually did the filming of this video, and I'm going to have Kat sitting with me for an interview to discuss how this happened, what those costs were, if she's able to talk about those things, and the story behind what made this interview essentially explode like this. We didn't see this coming, but nonetheless, folks, let's get straight into it. No ads today, no plugs. None of that stuff. Let's just get right into it. I want to go bit by bit into this interview. Now, again, I will be chiming in from time to time, showing this explosive interview. And when I say explosive, look, it's nothing new that we're seeing from Justin Trudeau. But again, the fact that Cian was able to get 10 minutes with Justin Trudeau is absolutely mind-blowing. How he gets it is unveiled at the beginning of this video. Again, I had made my video yesterday before I'd seen any clips, but it is explained how he got that time, and we're going to go over that right away. So here's Cian at Tofino talking with Justin Trudeau. Let's get into it.
So, sorry, sir. I'll just ask you super quickly. Your minister said that going on vacation. No, don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me.
Then please.
Your minister said that going on vacation on road trips actually causes the world to be set on fire.
Thank you, sir.
We're wondering how you could justify coming on a huge plane. Would you say that you're hiding from your caucus, actually?
So again, first off, I want to point out that Justin Trudeau is wearing a Canadian pride shirt. This man does not care 1 ounce about Canada. He's demonstrated that over his tenure as Prime Minister. There's a plethora of discussions we could get into to describe just how much Justin Trudeau despises Canada and has zero pride for his country. However, you'll notice here, you can see on the left, security coming in. Is it the security that he typically has? No. And I think that's part of the reason Cian went for this interview, was because he knew Justin Trudeau would have a relaxed security around Tofino. What's really interesting to point out is this is starting off like any typical attempt to talk to Justin Trudeau, where he's have a nice day, on your way. Here he is approaching Kat Canada asking, are you having a nice time? And he's going to get to that because Justin wants to play the victim card, but we're going to talk about that. Let's keep going.
Wasn't it a beautiful day? You're enjoying your time on vacation? Good. You having a good time on vacation, sir?
I'm happy to speak to you because actually this is the first time we've been able to speak with you because your government is so No, that's what I'm saying. That's enough. Okay? We want to know why you can justify going on a chartered government flight when your minister says that going on a simple road trip.
The line is right here.
Okay.
What did you want to do?
Sure. Thank you.
I'll be with you in a bit.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So I want to cut in right here because I am no supporter of Justin Trudeau. I do not particularly like this prime minister. I've been in a room 10 feet away from this man, and I can tell you right now, the feelings that I have for this person are not pleasant. However, what I will give props for here is he was pushed into a corner. He had no way. He had to do this interview. It was going to make him look completely awful. For his security to push Kean away to just walk off. You saw him do that when he said, "Have a nice day." He walked off saying, "Are you on vacation?" But he did the right thing for once. For once in his career, he did the right thing. He walked off. He thought for a second. I'm sure he thought, maybe I can try and make something out of this. We know Justin Trudeau's been trying to sit down with YouTubers recently. But he actually pushes his security aside and says, "I've got this. I'll catch up with you in a bit," and says to Kean, "Let's go for a walk." So this is how the interview was granted. Justin Trudeau, a lot of people saying on social media, "Is this scripted?" I think it's scripted. This is not scripted, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. It's not scripted. But let's take a look at the interview. Let's get into it.
So tell me.
I just want to
Hang on,
know.
no,
I want you to
I get that.
I
No,
asked
no,
the questions.
I-
I'm the
you no,
judge.
no, no,
You can
you
ask
asked
me
about
one
your
question.
mom.
I'll ask
You
you
asked
one
you about your mom.
question.
Okay,
Sure.
Do you think the prime minister should be able to have a family life?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can you imagine?
Now, one question. No, I get to ask one question.
You've
You
asked
asked one
multiple
question.
questions.
You haven't
I'm gonna
answered
ask
one though.
more.
So
I'm going to ask one more.
families get.
Do you
Prime ministers
think-
get to have a family
do you
life.
think-
Journalists also get to have
do you
access to
think-
prime ministers.
I have. Okay. So what's your question?
Well, I want to know if you're hiding from your caucus, why you won't call a caucus meeting.
I am not hiding from my caucus, and I've had many, many conversations and meetings with caucus. Okay, question for you now. Can you imagine, and do you think that kids who grow up in a prime minister's family deserve to have a normal-ish life with their family?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And can you understand?
Can I answer the question now? Sure, go ahead.
So before Kean gets into this question, again, Justin Trudeau trying to play the victim card. Can you understand that a prime minister and his family want to have a normal life? First off, I don't see his kids there. Second, I can understand where Justin is saying those things, but here's the problem. Now, I'm not going to be a complete Grinch and say his kids shouldn't have as normal a family life as possible. We saw his children attacked at Halloween for their choice of costumes. We've seen a number of things come out with his kids, like when Trudeau went to the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer with his kids. I mean, they're always under the microscope. They're under the lens. The same thing's going to happen for Pierre Poilievre when he becomes prime minister with his children. They're always going to be under the country's microscope. However, the problem here, and one thing that Kean touches on, is that as the prime minister, you have to give journalists access to ask the questions that need to be asked, and that was not being done over the last 9 years of Trudeau's dictatorship of Canada. So, of course, Justin Trudeau, while I feel he deserves some form of privacy with his family, this man takes off more time in a year than anybody else in the country. He takes more vacation time than anybody else in Canada. So, with the way you've treated Canadians, the tent cities you've blown up, the drugs you've decriminalized, we'll say, the inflation you've put on people, the cost of food you've forced onto people. People can't afford to go on vacation this year. People can't afford their lives while you're off in Tofino having a good time. So no, this is due. And let's continue.
You are passing a bill right now. You're pushing through a bill that's it's called the Online Harms Act. And you're sort of putting a bunch of policy in behind protecting children. You say it's all about protecting children, but that bill is actually going to censor Canadians' ability to access the internet, to exercise free speech. Why put those two bills together? Why not separate them?
Right? First of all, it's actually not doing any censoring of the internet, and it's entirely focused on protecting kids. So, my kids spend an awful lot of their life dealing with me as Prime Minister. Every now and then, I get to go away and watch my kids playing in the water. And this is the 10 days I get on vacation for the entire summer.
Okay, again, the victim card is coming out. It's so this is why everybody said it was staged. Here's why Trudeau said, walk with me. He wanted to play the guilt trip of poor, pitiful me. I only get 10 days in the summer to sit with my kids and go to the beach. Well, you go bungee jumping with your kids. You do all sorts of things with your kids. This is hypocrisy at its finest. This is also the man who went to Jamaica for 10 days and sat in, what is it, like $100,000 resort with his family and shared it with another family, and they go there every Christmas on the taxpayer's dime. Keep in mind, this vacation is also on the taxpayer's dime. I can't wait to see the bill for that one. But this is why the interview was, for anybody saying it was scripted, this is why it was conducted. Trudeau wanted to play the victim card.
And as you know, I work more days a week than the vast majority of Canadians.
You've actually taken hundreds of vacation days last year.
Hold it.
I'll let you finish. Sorry.
You can do the math. Glenn McGregor did the math last year, pointed out how many days I work as Prime Minister.
There it is right there. Trudeau spent 680 personal days as Prime Minister. There you go.
And it's equivalent of working every single day of the week and Saturday and not taking any day off, not any bank holidays, not 2 weeks of vacation, nothing. I work incredibly hard and I get to be dad with my kids with nothing else going on for 10 minutes. My son was just out there in the water, splashing around, and he came to see me because he was so excited that I came out to see him, and he instead saw me giving an interview, being Prime Minister again, and right now he just wants me to be my dad, and I'm trying to give him a little bit of that right now. I'm happy to take questions when I'm in Ottawa. I'm happy to take questions when I'm making announcements. I do more media press conferences than any other politician these days.
Except you don't give access to those you disagree with. And that's the problem here. And again, they're going to show clips of that. But Justin Trudeau, now this is, again, the interview. I'm going to walk you down the beach. I'm going to walk you away from my family. I want you to get away from my kids. Again, I didn't see his kids anywhere. Now, I'll take his word at that. But again, Justin Trudeau talking about his job. I mean, this is a guy who said he finds his job boring. And now he's telling Key and Bexy, I work so hard. I work all the time. I only get 10 days with my kids a year. Baloney. Hogwash.
Justin, can you tell me why your Minister of Climate Change is serving on a communist council? Can you tell me about that, Justin?
So your government has overseen the greatest collapse of news media in this country's history. When will you take responsibility for your own incompetence, Prime Minister?
So we actually had to sue you to get into the government debates.
Who do you work for?
I work for the Counter Signal, but
Okay, what is that?
formerly it's a conservative, albeit right-wing news outlet based out of Calgary, and we had to fight to get into the leaders' debates during the last election. Why did you stop? You might say it was a debate commission, but it's a debate commission that you created.
No, it's not.
Stopped a lot of independent journalists from coming in to ask questions.
The Ottawa Press Gallery is a self-regulating body of journalists who make determinations who gets to be members of political journalists in the Parliamentary Press Gallery. The government has no say in that. It's your peer journalists who make decisions about who gets accredited to the Parliamentary Press Gallery.
Do you think that it's a little bit strange that your minister, Mark Holland, said that going on a road trip...
We're just going to change...
No, I'm just going to keep asking you questions. Hopefully it's okay. Mark Holland said that going on a road trip is equivalent to setting the world on fire. But
you can take a summer fun time vacation where you're locked in a car for 10 consecutive days, nonstop with no bathroom breaks, and the Conservatives have a plan for you to have that summertime fun. And the cost? Give up the future of the planet.
But you chartered a private government jet. No, let me finish my question. You chartered a government jet to Fino, so that you could be isolated with your family. Totally fair. But lots of Canadian families want...
I'm not isolated. This
is almost the most western point in the country. You live in Ottawa. I'm not going to do the math on how much carbon that burns.
What Mark Holland was talking about was the math that the Conservative Party did on the road trips taken this summer was the equivalent of going from the North Pole to the tip of northern Canada to Patagonia and back 4 times. That's the kind of road trip that the Conservative Party math was actually talking about. Now, lots of Canadians going on vacation all the summer. I don't get on a commercial jet. I don't get to do a long road trip because I only take 10 days off on the summer, so I have to fly to come see my friends and family in Vancouver. If I'm going to fly to the West Coast, I have to fly on an Air Force jet, a Royal Canadian Air Force jet. Those are things that every Prime Minister has to do. It's something that is just the rules. It applies to all Prime Ministers. So if I'm going to go away with my family to a beautiful part of this country where I spent time growing up, I need to do it this way.
Do you see any similarities between yourself and Joe Biden's current political situation?
Now, before they get into that question, one of the things, again, Justin Trudeau, you'll notice this interview is guilt, victim card. Say, oh, all the other prime ministers have to take these jets. But all these other prime ministers don't rack up $100,000 to $250,000 debts for food on those flights. They don't live the lavish life. I understand that the president travels on Air Force One. Justin Trudeau must be on a Air Force jet. I'm not saying the guy can't take 10 days off a year. It's the costs of his entitled, narcissistic behavior that beg the questions. Why? Especially at a time when you're telling Canadians they're horrible for going on vacation. Anyways, let's get into the question here. Are you comparing yourself to the current political situation with Joe Biden?
No.
You trying to?
Now we've got a lot of questions.
Sure.
I guess my last question is, do you believe that good people should be stepping up in politics for all different parties?
I think that good people should be elected to office for sure. I think that that's an important thing.
Do you realize that one of the challenges we have right now is good people are looking at the costs of being in politics, being in public life, costs on family, costs on all sorts of different levels, and wondering whether or not it's worth it?
Are you calling yourself a good person here?
No, I am saying that my job right now is to try and encourage people to step up into politics, and that's part of what I'm doing. And a lot of people look at the aggressiveness of tracking someone down and challenging them on vacation while they're on the beach trying to spend some time with their 10-year-old son, who I'm going to have to go try and explain that to. A lot of people
Ever the
say,
martyr.
wow, I don't know that they'd want to sign up for this. And one of the challenges we have in a democracy is we need to make sure that good people from all different parties step up and not get their private time turned into public time.
Are you looking for a replacement right now?
No, I am absolutely not. I am running in the next election.
So right there, again, this could be deflection. I've got another video coming out later this week talking about the rumor mill and what's being said in the rumor mill, because the rumor mill's all over the place right now. Speculation is running rampant. But of course, Justin Trudeau's not going to say if he's looking for a replacement or not to Keean Bexte. Saying that he's running in the next election, I again think that's going to change as time moves on.
Are you concerned at all about your poll numbers?
No, I am not.
What causes you to not be concerned?
Because I spend a lot of time talking with Canadians. A lot of time, focusing on the things that we're doing to actually deliver for people.
Does it not concern you that wherever you go, you get a lot of backlash because of what you're doing with the country?
What concerns me is I can't bring my kids away with me on vacation without having that vacation interrupted and having private times at 6 o'clock in the evening on a beautiful night in a beautiful Canadian beach.
I appreciate that you want to spend time with your family. It is a great story, but the issue is
It's a story. It's a story.
It's a great narrative for sure.
It's a great
but at the end of the day, Justin,
do you have any kids?
You were the
do you have
prime.
any kids?
No, I don't.
Do you
At
have
the end of the
any
day,
kids? Okay.
the end of the day, Justin, you were the prime minister.
Yes. So I'm not allowed to have a vacation with my kids.
I think that Canadians need to get answers from you more often than they do.
Okay.
I think that you hide behind press conferences, that you determine who gets access to, so that you can make sure that state-funded journalists. No, definitely, and I appreciate that.
But this is what we had to do. We had to fly out to Tofino to find you on a beach to ask you just several questions.
That's the job you get paid to do. Did you do this for free, or are you going to get paid for this? Because you're a paid.
Hopefully I get paid. Hopefully this was good enough content that people want to chip in. But
So right there again, and I can't stress this enough, you can see support@countersignal.com down at the bottom. Justin Trudeau saying, did you get paid for this? No, he doesn't. He doesn't get paid for this. Cian Bexty spent his own money to fly him and Cat Canada out to Tofino. As he said, they need answers. They want answers. This is the lengths independent media have to go to just to get answers from their leader, supposed leader. I'm not going to call Justin Trudeau an actual leader. We all know he's not.
the thing is, you've had me arrested outside of your house, Justin. Yes, you have. Yes, Terry Guillon actually called the RCMP to pull me out of a press conference. When it was the press conference actually where you were talking about how monetary policy, you don't think about it very often. But you had your media advance. You had your media advance call the RCMP because I was going to ask questions that you didn't want. I wasn't the CBC. I wasn't CTV. I wasn't Global News. So you had you arrested. So we came out here.
You have your countercultural way of doing things, and you're getting this message out. I hope you get lots of likes. I'm sure you will because you have me actually engaging with you. And now I'm going to say, thank you for coming out here and doing your job to contribute to democracy. Now I'm going to go back and be with my family so that I can get back to work on contributing to democracy when I come home from vacation.
All right, thanks for your time.
Have a great day, guys.
That is the most time that an independent journalist has had with Justin Trudeau. I asked some questions. I had a lot more to ask. He's good at shouting back and telling a story, telling a narrative that he's formed over a long amount of time. But at the end of the day, it does tell you a lot that a journalist has to fly on two planes from Calgary to Vancouver, and then from Vancouver to a float plane that then flies out to Tofino, that I then, have to come out to this beach and wait here for hours until we're able to speak with our Prime Minister.
That is the harsh reality of what has happened here, folks. And again, I know this is a long video, and I know that, again, this interview was out of nowhere. Nobody saw this coming. And what an interview that was. But again, for anybody who says, again, I'm going to say this one last time, anybody who said that this was scripted, anybody who said, oh, it's all part of Trudeau. No, guys, come on. You can see exactly what was going on in that interview. Now, in yesterday's video, I said, I'm going to have to wait and see what happens when the countersignal comes out. But until then, I had some questions. Well, those questions were answered in this interview. And that's, of course, what we all need to do when these things happen. Now, the internet blew up yesterday where people were saying, it's scripted. You had this planned. Oh, you're part of the left wing. I mean, Cat Canada just bumped into Crystia Freeland on an airplane. All these things. Look, yeah, they all kind of ask the question of, is this legitimate? But when you see this interview, you can see exactly what Justin Trudeau's plan was. It was deflecting by moving Cian away from his family and continuously playing the victim card, saying, I'm here on vacation. I just want my time with my poor family. Poor Justin. Well, no, Moss, we're not buying it, Justin. I'm sorry. Your victim card has expired. It's reached its limit. People don't care anymore. I mean, these are the questions we want answers to. And that was just a handful of the questions that we want answers to in Canada. And as Cian says, 2 planes, float planes, chartered flights, not chartered, but, I guess technically a chartered float plane, but a commercial flight from Calgary to Vancouver, all that just to get a few questions from the Prime Minister. We say, I gave you 10 minutes of my time. $3,000 is worth 10 minutes of his time? I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you guys think about this interview down below. Again, head over to supportthecountersignal.com. Show them some support. Show them some love. Again, they're based out of Calgary. I think Cian does a great job. I've always liked the Countersignal. In fact, we've often used their articles from time to time to talk about the subjects that we discuss here on the channel. And of course, again, costs do ramp up when trying to do this level of journalism. Again, kudos to Cian, kudos to Cat Canada. Again, watch the channel tomorrow. I'm going to have Cat Canada here talking about the actual expenses if she's able to, as well as how this all came about, how long they were there for. Basically the story behind this interview, because it really blows my mind that it actually worked out this way, despite Justin Trudeau wanting to turn it into a victim statement and a poor me situation. But again, ladies and gentlemen, Let me know what you think about the interview down below. Do you think Justin Trudeau has his victim card revoked? Let me know your comments. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Don't forget to click your bell for notifications and join us live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, where we talk about things like this and everything else that's happened in the week of politics, as well as things coming up in the weeks ahead. Until that time, ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to seeing each and every one of you inside those videos, or inside those live streams, I should say, outside of these videos, giving me your comments, while I can't take my 10 minutes of vacation with my family, but I'm happy to give them up with you guys. That is a little jab at Justin. But anyways, we'll see you guys on the live stream this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and had a great day. Have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.